Warning: the following podcast, which contains strong language and mature content, is unsuitable for children or for the faint of heart. The subject matter discussed will be frightening and graphic in nature. Listener discretion is advised.
When you wanna hear about the paranormal, you get the Spooksters. True crime that makes you hypothermal. With the three spooked girls, stabby snippets will give you dreams. Tara and Jessica will make you along with the spooked girls. Bring on the slaughter, we on that haunted ground. Spooked girls. The three spooked girls.
Hey Spooksters, and welcome back to another episode here on Three Spooked Girls. My name is Tara, and as you can see by the title, this week we are doing a vault release. This time we're going to dive into some Love Gone Wrong Reddit stories. Jessica is still out sick with bronchitis, so we thought we would give her a break on her vocal cords this week, and we had a great time with this one, so we hope you enjoy. Since we are wrapping up the month of love, I have found some Valentine-themed no-sleep creepypasta stories for us today. Just felt right. I almost went ahead and was like, maybe I'll find some like St. Patrick's Day stuff, but then I was like, no, let's drag this out. This is fine.
Gotta love.
Right. So in this first one, I'm assuming the title is a play off of a movie. So the title of this first one is For All the Boys I've Killed Before. And it made me think of, for all the boys I loved before. Yeah. So, this is from the No Sleep Reddit, so we're going to get into it. Okay. Valentine's Day is a big day for serial killers. I mean, think about it. Everyone is either stupidly happy, sad, or mopey. Serial killers generally find themselves in the latter. It's depressing. It's so hard these days to find someone who's comfortable with your murderous compulsions.
Maybe a lot.
That's the conclusion I came to anyway. What can I say? I'm a 30-year-old woman, and once again, I'm alone on Valentine's Day. All of my friends are getting married, having huge blowout weddings, and insane bachelorette parties where they basically gloat about how much great sex they're having. Always a killer bridesmaid and never a killer bride.
Aww.
Anyway, right? She just wants her boo. Anyway.
She wants to have passion in all areas of her life.
Right. Anyway, Valentine's night, I put on my best blood red dress and a long black coat, complete with black stilettos. I painted my lips black and did a delicate dark smoky eye. My dark hair is down tonight, done in gentle curls. I fluffed my hair, checked to make sure that the severed head on my mantelpiece over the fireplace was set straight, and went out the door, locking it securely behind me.
I mean, priorities.
Right. I walked down the sidewalk, lit by street lamps, my heels clicking satisfyingly against the concrete. It was quiet out tonight, despite the occasional drunk person wandering around sadly. I avoided them expertly, keeping to the shadows. I have a very specific destination in mind. I knew my next victim would be there. I had manipulated events to make it so. I had chosen my victim a month or so ago upon hearing some very interesting news about him. Despite his sins, he had excellent taste in bars. Well, there's that. That's good.
Redeeming quality number one.
Right. I saw the bar down the street, warm light and soft music permeating the air around it. I stood outside looking into the windows. I saw him there right on time. There was one problem, though. There was a woman there already talking to him. Shit.
What?
Scandal ruining the plans.
I mean, not for him. She's murderous. But...
For her, yes.
Yeah.
Ruining her plans, yeah. I breezed through the door, twisting my red lips into an enchanting smile. I sat at a stool close by my victim, but not too close. I had to get rid of this other woman. I ordered a whiskey and developed a plan. My victim's name is Seth Bates, an executive of some company I couldn't be bothered to remember the name of. Bates had an unfortunate habit of forcing interns to suck his penis.
Rude.
Right? He's a generally all-around slimy guy, which made him a particularly easy kill. My plan had been to seduce him, get him into a hotel room, and spend the night torturing and killing him. This woman here, however, was throwing a wrench into my plan. Admittedly, she was a beautiful woman. She had short red hair cut into a bob and was wearing a short dress with red flowers on it. She had a nice laugh, admittedly, and it sounded like bells. She was drinking a glass of Chardonnay and laughing at Bates' pitiful jokes. Eventually, she excused herself to the bathroom. I watched as Bates slid a roofie into her drink, and that's when I made my move.
Oh no, he is terrible. First
Right?
with the whole PP situation and then the roofing people. So many bad things.
Excuse me, I said, sliding past him gracefully, pretending I was getting the bartender's attention. Well, hello there, said Melvin in his nasally voice. I accidentally, on purpose, knocked over the red-headed woman's drink. Oh God, I knocked over your date's drink, I said. Oh, she's not my date. We just met, he said, raking his eyes over me. Why don't you sit down? I'll buy you a drink. Why, thank you, Mr. Bates, Seth Bates, he said smoothly, waving over to the bartender to get me a drink. Bile starts rising into my throat, but I swallow it down. Vanessa, I say, shaking his hand. I sat down and flirted with him, and the red-headed woman had returned. Now, who's this? She asked, her voice slightly strained. Courtney, this is Vanessa, Bates gestured to me. She wants to have some fun, too. Courtney smiled at me with daggers in her eyes. I returned the look. The three of us sat down, talked, Bates slowly getting drunker and drunker. Hey, do you ladies want to come up to my room? He slurred. I nodded, and to my dismay, so did Courtney. Fuck.
Courtney, why are you ruining shit?
Fuck. I really don't want to have to kill this girl. She seems nice. Too nice for this fuckwad. Either way, the three of us went giggling up to Bates's suite and making out occasionally. We got to the room and Bates fumbled with his key card, eventually swiping us in. All right, ladies, just gotta take a piss and then we can get down to business, he slurred, stumbling into the bathroom. I quickly turned to Courtney.
He's so charming.
Right? I know. How could they resist? Listen, Courtney, you need to get out of here. Why the hell should I? You seemed pretty ready for a threesome down at the bar, she said, stepping out of her heels. Look,
Courtney,
this guy, Courtney,
it's not going to be good for you. Go away.
Just listen. Fuck. Look, this Bates guy is a really bad guy, I said, getting increasingly desperate. Obviously, Courtney said, reaching back and unzipping her dress. I swallowed hard. If he's so bad, why are you here anyway? Planning to kill him or something? Of course not, I said, turning my back to Courtney. I silently pulled a wicked hunting knife from a sheath strapped to my leg. I turned around, but Courtney was already there, holding a pillowcase like she was about to strangle me. I blinked, unsure of what was happening. Courtney stopped
so much.
I do too. Courtney stopped in her tracks, staring at my knife. Wait, are you? She stepped back. Well, when I said I wasn't here to kill him, I may have been lying, I said, lowering my knife. Oh my God, I'm here to kill him too, Courtney said, grinning.
Oh my God, new besties.
Oh my God, I said, thinking. So do you want to kill him together? Courtney blushed. Courtney blushed and said, I'd love to.
I mean, I love this so much.
A couple seconds later, Bates came stumbling out of the bathroom. All right, ladies, he said, grinning stupidly. Let's get to it. He started unbuckling his belt, and Courtney snuck up behind him and wrapped the pillowcase she was holding around his neck, tightening it cruelly. What the fuck? Bates garbled. See you in hell, Valentine. I jammed my knife into his stomach and wrenched it up, spilling his steaming guts all over the floor.
Oh.
Courtney laughed, tying the pillowcase around Bates's neck like a massive bow tie. Damn, you go right for it, she said, kneeling down and running her hands through the bloody viscera. Ew, I guess I do, I blushed. Hey, want to go get dinner? Courtney smiled, standing up, blood dripping from her hands. She absently stuck a finger in her mouth and sucked on it. Sure. Anyways, happy Valentine's Day.
That ended so gross. I liked it until the ending when she's like, no.
Listen, no, we don't need the cannibalism.
We don't need to drink blood or suck blood off our fingers. No.
Right. Okay, well, switching gears, our next story is called Glitch in the Valentine's Day Matrix. So, standing in Target before Valentine's Day, staring at the heart-shaped boxes littering the shelves, I reached inside one of them and took a piece of chocolate. Behind me, although I didn't realize it at first, or I wouldn't have taken the chocolate, was a gorgeous woman. She was wearing red, but she did not work for Target after a quick inspection. She was staring at this one large heart that had the Disney Frozen characters on the front, and she was crying. Gazing at this scene did something to me. I reached for the heart box and said, "I'll buy this for you if you really want it." Her extremely pretty face lit up. My feelings of guilt for taking the chocolate subsided. I walked to the front of the store to pay for it, and she followed. I held the bag in my hand as I walked outside. Once I got to a sunny part of the sidewalk, I handed her the box and said, "Happy Valentine's Day." She gave me a kiss on the cheek. I contemplating asking her out as I started to walk away, but not wanting to walk away. A feeling of not wanting to be a creep was strong though, and I let it pass. I gave her one last look from across the street, and she was still standing there smiling and waving a thank you with her body language. In fact, she remains like this the entire time I walked down the block. It was strange. When I got back to my apartment, I swear I could still see her, still standing and waving to nobody. But now she was on the opposite side of the street. Maybe I avoided a real nut job just now. Being that I parked my work van below the Target, I found myself going back in there almost daily. Sometimes I didn't even need anything, and I would find myself walking the Target floors. The next time I was in there, I saw her again, the woman in red. I attempted to follow her, and at one point, she was near the Starbucks at the front. Then I caught her again near the pharmacy. Each time she turned a corner, and I missed her. It was weird. After 10 minutes of this, I was standing in the back aisle with all the Valentine's Day crap again. Giving up on the woman finally, I reached back into the same box of chocolates from the day before, and the same feeling of guilt washed over me as I stole a piece. Which is so funny because who gives a shit about stolen chocolate from Target? I guess I do, apparently. I barely had my teeth into the creamy round chocolate when I bumped into the woman in red with my elbow. She was standing behind me in the same spot as before and was staring at the frozen Valentine's Day chocolate box, which I bought for her a couple days ago. I touched her shoulder. "It's you again. I just bought you one of those 2 days ago." She stared at me blankly. This all felt too much familiar. There has to be a word for this feeling. Not deja vu, but a word more immediate. Just vu. Because this fucking happened just 2 days ago. And it wasn't a long distant memory resurfacing.
Just vu.
Just vu. I grabbed the frozen Valentine box and walked up to the front of the store and paid for it. The woman followed me again, and just like before, I handed it to her on the sidewalk out front. Only this time, I asked her out. "Would you like to come back to my apartment? I only live right over there." I point to the apartment complex on First Avenue that I lived in.
She nodded her out.
That's asking her out? That's
like skipping several steps.
Yes. She nodded her head and with her free hand took mine and we went upstairs. This was all so weird and no way in hell is it ever this easy. I didn't know what I was going to do once we got there, but I was more in a state of shock almost. Like I knew I should abort this project ASAP, but I couldn't stop myself. I felt this way one time after I called a hooker, and that one time I did bail before anything happened. My guy. Let's not call it that, first of all.
Right.
But okay.
And second of all, like, how dare you, sir? This is obviously clearly a nut job who's gonna be a demon. It's my prediction.
So we get to my floor and I instruct her to sit on the couch while I get us something to drink. She makes it up to about halfway and just stands there smiling and waving again, like from the day before. This bizarre behavior terrified me. I wanted her to leave now. This was a mistake.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
Like,
she's a demon.
the fuck?
She's a demon. She's a mimic.
I sat on my bed, her standing in my living room, out of view while I collected my thoughts. Big mistake, guy. I lean forward a bit and now can see her. In this short time, her face began to move. Right before my eyes, she appeared to age, and rapidly. Within about 20 seconds, she completely went from young and pretty to old and wrinkled. And it didn't stop there. She kept going, rotting even. Black holes now where her pretty blue eyes used to sit. A black, rotted husk of a person now just hung in the air, frozen. The only moment was coming from her still beating heart, which was visibly moving up and down with the same rhythm as my own, which was off the charts with terror. I couldn't think of anything else to do except scream, "Leave! Leave now!" I'm on the phone with the police now, sitting in my bathroom shaking. Every time I peek out into my living room, I can still see her standing there.
Ew.
The end. Ew, that's what you get, my guy.
Or just invite her back to your apartment. Also,
I mean, yeah, we already knew he wasn't a good person for the way he referred to sex workers, so have fun with your demon lady.
Stole chocolates from Target. Also,
Yeah.
who does it hurt? It hurts the person who buys that box of chocolates and gets home and there's 2 pieces missing. Like,
Oh, God, awful. Okay, I have one more story for us, and the title is A Random Woman on the Street Gave Me a Valentine's Day Card. I wish I hadn't opened it. It read, "Will you be mine?" There was no name, no one to whom it originally was addressed to, just a crumbled red envelope and a mostly blank white card with the aforementioned question written inside on the right. The black ink had smeared either at the time of writing or sometime during its travels through the curious woman's pocket. It somehow made the question seem sad, desperate. She gave me one last glance, then stepped away, mingling with the crowd that seemed to appear out of nowhere at that very moment. I didn't know what to do, and had anyone else given it to me, I probably would have tossed it. But the woman had been strangely unconventionally attractive, so I kept it. I used it to buoy my spirits after what had been a particularly frustrating day at work. She could have given it to anyone, but she had chosen me. Back home, I sat it on the kitchen counter and started to make myself something to eat. A few minutes into dinner preparations, I got this feeling in the back of my neck, like there was somebody watching me. Turning around, I scanned my small apartment, able to see the entirety of the kitchen and the living room beyond from where I was standing at the stove. There wasn't anyone in sight, and yet I still felt as if I were being observed. It was around 8 p.m. The night had already set in, but my living room curtains were still open. I crossed the room, closed them, and returned to the kitchen. The ominous feeling lingered, but I ignored it and finished cooking. Halfway through eating dinner, there was a knock at the door. I never had anyone stop by to visit before, so the occurrence was at once alarming. I sat there, frozen mid-chew, hoping that there had been some kind of mistake, but another knock came. Rising from the table, I gripped my fork in my hand and crept towards the front door, trying not to announce my occupancy of the apartment. Reaching the door, I peered through the peephole, not exactly dreading what I'd see, but hoping not to see anyone. I feel like having a knock at your door and seeing nobody would be worse. I don't know.
Yes, except for like maybe if you lived in a place where like kids ran amok, maybe.
Yeah, that was my other thought too. Yeah. My hope panned out. There wasn't anyone there. And yet this unnerved me because I hadn't heard any departing footsteps. Carefully, fork gripped tightly into my right hand, I opened the door an inch. No one occupied the space beyond, so I opened it all the way. The threshold was empty. Both ends of the hall was empty. I didn't notice the evidence that anyone had even been there until I took a tentative step into the hall. Turning around to re-enter my apartment, I saw that someone had written something on the door, an unsettling, familiar phrase, "Will you be mine?"
No!
And just like the ink on the card, the writing, dark paint, I hoped, was smeared with the letter E in mine, no more than a trailing blot. I hurried back inside and slammed the door. My heart was going crazy. I sensed that something was happening and that I was being subjected to some kind of prank or harassment. I had to hold on to the wall because as I made my way back to the kitchen, my anxiety was making my steps unsteady. As I returned to my seat at the table, my appetite utterly lost, I was suddenly beset with the urge to look at the card again, to read it again, even though I knew what was written inside. I went over, grabbed it from the counter, and sat back down, shoving my unwanted dinner plate aside. I withdrew the card from its envelope and set it on the table, a feeling of mounting unrest making my hands tremble. The blank white face of the card seemed to augur some terrible yet unguessable news, an infinite array of cryptic possibilities. Finally, I willed my hands to open the card. Inside, written on every single inch of space, was the phrase, "Will you be mine?" Over and over, in every direction, some instances more erratic than others. There was a terrible and terrifying variety of the scribbles. I never felt more disturbed by such a relatively simple thing. I threw the card away, but after a few moments spent on the couch trying to calm myself, I got up, fetched my candle lighter, and burned the card in the kitchen sink. As the flames consumed it, crumbling and blackening the material, I felt a new sensation, not exactly nausea, but a bodily lightness. I gripped the counter, attempting to steady myself. It wasn't until I had practically keeled over that I noticed the fumes weren't gray or black or the color of any smoke I had seen before, but red. Red as the envelope the card had been in.
I knew it.
Consciousness began to ebb away just as I heard the front door open. I remember then I hadn't locked the door. I merely slammed it in my panic. You idiot, I thought to myself as darkness took me. I awoke on my kitchen table, and the first thing I noticed was the chill. I was naked. I had been stripped completely.
It was like hard candy.
Maybe. Given the circumstances, as terrible as they were, I expected to be bound, but I was not, and promptly rolled off the table when I shifted my weight. I landed hard on my shoulder and briefly hoped that I'd pass out again, if only to stop the flare of pain. Recovering using the table for leverage, I stood up. My senses were rekindled completely when I saw what was smeared on the table's surface. It was unmistakably blood, my blood. As if activated by sight, my nerves exploded, and pain coursed through the front of my body. I fell to my knees, my body overwrought with agony, with one eye open, the other closed, as if that'd somehow mollify the pain. I examined myself. From the top of my chest down to my groin was the word mine, carved into my skin.
Nope.
It was like I had been claimed, the words lacking a question mark, the wounds still fresh, a grisly statement of ownership. Every movement, no matter how subtle, brought a new spike of breath, stealing pain, so I just stayed there, kneeling on my own kitchen floor as streams of blood trickled from the wounds that had not yet coagulated. My one attempt to call for help brought so much pain that I almost fainted, so I refrained from even doing that, not wanting to bleed out while unconscious. I stayed like that for over an hour until my body had grown somewhat accustomed to the pain. Then I stood, cringing against the only slightly diminished agony, and shedding no small number of tears, and called the police. They came, I was taken to the hospital, and they investigated what they could of my apartment and the evidence therein. I've yet to hear any news of a lead or idea of the perpetrator. They only informed me that the card, the one I burned, had been taken into evidence. I was shocked at this and thought it must have shown on my face because the officer asked if something was wrong. I asked him how they had recovered the card given what I had done, and he said that there wasn't anything wrong with it, that the alleged fire hadn't damaged it at all.
What?
An itch in the back of my mind compelled me to ask him another question, even as I grappled to comprehend what he had told me. What did the card say inside? The officer met my eyes for a moment, a look of slight bewilderment on his face. It said, "I'm glad you're mine. Once I'm well enough to leave the hospital, I'm finding a new place to live. The landlord can have everything in my apartment. I'm never going back there. For the first time in my life, I'm happy I'll be spending Valentine's Day alone." The end.
I'd fucking leave the country. Like, there's not a far enough away I could get. Nope.
Literally.
Just go to
Oh
space.
my God.
Like, never leaving that hospital.
For real.
I'd be like, I live here now. This is where I live.
You're my personal bodyguard forever. Sorry.
Sorry. Not going.
Nope. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed our creepypastas. I thought they were fun, and it's been a minute since we've done them. So, here we are. But with that, we will go ahead and sign off. Bye, guys.
Toodles.
Hello, Toxic Avenger fans. You know what that theme song means. It's time for another exclusive audio clip from The Toxic Avenger in theaters August 29th. This time, we bring you the sounds of someone cooking breakfast and listening to the news. Enjoy.
From New Chemistry High School for varsity tournament season. Coach Stanwyck, what can we expect from the Crimson Beaks this year?
New Chem is gonna nuke them.
Wouldn't want to be the Kennedy Cougars this Saturday, huh?
Man, fuck the Cougars. Fuck the Cougars!
Oh my God. So switching gears, we have a special exclusive.
Okay, that's great.
Do you want to be part of a winning team? Want to stand up against the forces of evil, like the Kennedy Cougars and beyond? Join the fight at I'mWithToxie.com and then see The Toxic Avenger in theaters on August 29th. That's I'mWithToxie, TOXIE.com.